So today we are going to make a video that I don't really want to make, but we kind of have no choice today. Okay, we got to make it. Um, I don't know if you guys have played Lightning Spear with the Roa, but the Roa is not very fun. It's really bad. You get hit one time, it basically stuns you at tier 15 maps. I'm assuming there's probably workarounds to this, but like obviously the mobility is great, but that's about it. Everything else about the Roa is garbage. So the problem right now in PoE2 is this, and I'm going to obviously come back and get that. But the problem with PoE2 is this, right? Is you have these builds that would all be considered, like if you took away Lightning Spear, you would have a ton of builds that people would be playing and the meta would be great. But the problem is you have Lightning Spear. So almost everybody's playing it, right? A vast majority of players are playing this build. And the problem with that is simple, right? The problem is when you have this many people playing a build, it makes, because it's so overpowered, it makes playing the other builds feel so bad that it's almost unplayable. And with last Epoxy, so there's one hit. I got 3/4 charged right there with my Roa. One hit. And then he immediately dies because even with gems on, he's completely worthless, right? So the problem is with Lightning Spear is even without Roa, like I can go almost as fast. So I really don't even want to use it. Like I just want to get an evasion chest, and I'm probably going to do that on my next build. But that being said, you have Last Epoch coming out on Thursday, right? So I'm recording this video as of Tuesday, 2 days before Last Epoch comes out. I'm definitely going to play Last Epoch when it comes out. That's cool. I'm definitely going to play Last Epoch when it comes out. But here's the thing: is I want to play a bleed build. I want to play the ES, like my Lich. I want to play that. The problem is I don't want to go through the campaign again because I know that they've said they've fixed it, but to me it's so bad that I don't trust them that like it's good enough to where I want to go through that experience again because the experience was so absolutely rotten the first time. I don't want to do it. The second problem is even bigger, right? And the second problem is because every other build that I've watched that I'm like, oh, that looks cool. But even in those videos, you listen to the authors of the videos and they'll literally sit there and be like, yeah, it's not Lightning Spear. It's not Lightning Spear. It's not Lightning Spear. I think GGG has to nerf Lightning Spear, but the problem is now they can't because Last Epoch's coming out. So if they do that, they're going to kill their entire season and no one's going to come back and play anymore. They're just not. So they're in this really bad spot. And no matter how much they put out, everyone's going to go play Last Epoch. That's just what's going to happen. Okay. Like, this isn't a debate. That's what anyone who's an ARPG enthusiast is going to go do. They are going to play Last Epoch because of how horrendous this experience is leveling. And to be honest with you, I really think the end game could be really cool in this game. Now, I haven't gotten all the points yet. I've gotten like almost all of them. I have the like I think 3 maps and like whatever. I'm on tier 11 that I got to do of the corrupted things, right? But I've got enough points to where it is what it is, etc. And I just don't see me leveling the campaign again. I don't want to do it. And so like this morning I was like, I really don't want to play this build anymore. I don't like Roa. I don't like Lightning Spear, but it's just so strong in mapping that I feel like an idiot if I don't play it because of just how overpowered it is compared to literally every other build in the game. So I'm at this point where I'm like, I want to play Bleed. I want Bleed to work. I'm probably going to go back through, redo my guy, go back to Bleed, and just mess with it. And then tomorrow start messing with Last Epoch and leveling and what tunes I want to play and do my research on that so that I can go do that. And obviously I understand that, what's weird to me with Last Epoch is they put like all the guides are basically out. So Good thing, bad thing, I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. But the biggest problem in Path of Exile 2 is if you're not playing this build, everything else feels bad. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple that are like okay, right? There's a couple that people are like, oh, this build's dope. But the problem is, no one wants to invest the amount of time it takes to re-level, right? And even Fubgun was like, oh, I got to level 90 on my alt in like 9 hours. And it's like, okay, well, he's probably one of the top players, that plays this game, right? Like, let's be honest. He's a streamer. He's got time. That's what he does for a living. He can do that. Normal people like me who do not have that ability, they do not have that time, they do not have the ability to invest all of that time into another character, and they're not that good. So let's say it takes them twice as long as it takes Fubgun. So it takes them 18 hours to level this shit, right? And they go through, they level it, they get it up. Is that something that they want to do? And I don't think, with as easy as it is in Last Epoch to level and how fun it is, I don't think you're going to see people do it. I think you're just going to see people say, screw it, and go play a different game. And as sad as that is, I think that's the reality of where Last Epoch is where this game is at this point, right? It is just not in a good spot. It's not fun. And to be honest, it's either lightning build or bust. And the problem is, again, I think the end game's fine. The new maps are cool. That gold map, guys, so I did that gold map with 600,000 gold, and it put me at 1,600,000 gold after doing one gold map. So like I got it was so cool. It was such a good experience. I absolutely loved it. But now it's like, okay, I have the currency. I have, I can level up relatively a lot faster. They've said they've fixed it. But do I want to go through and spend 15 more hours to do that just to get back to this point? And then again, you're slogging through this game on builds that just aren't this, right? And so the problem is when you have one build that is epically faster than everything else, and you can do a one-button build, and it feels good, and it's quick, it's easy, it has that feeling that the Herald's builds had last season, that the Minions builds had last season. There were several builds last season. The Spark build had last season, right? Like you had these builds that were, you click the button and everything dies. You click the button, and that's the power fantasy, right? You build up to that. But then when you have enough currency, you can make other tunes, and they can go do that same thing, and you can try these different builds and really enjoy the game and enjoy the end game and enjoy different aspects, right? Like I know I don't know whether you want to call it league or season or whatever, but the initial early access launch, I started on like a grenade style mercenary build. Didn't really like it because I saw everybody playing minions. So I went and leveled minions because I had enough currency. That was awesome. Way more fun, right? Then I saw minions, went and leveled that. Tons of fun. Then I saw the Deadeye build, went and leveled that. Super fun, right? And so I played all these different builds because the campaign wasn't so bad. But when you have Act 1, 2, and 3, and then you have to repeat Act 1, 2, and 3, right? You're just slogging the same thing over and over and over. And when they've made it exponentially more difficult to go do those things, it doesn't incentivize you to want to go do that. So here's the problem is if Last Epoch was coming out when Diablo 4 is, and we had 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks until, like the next game came out, or a month until the next game came out, would I go do that? Yeah, absolutely. I would. But the problem is we have a game coming out that's known for its leveling, known for its crafting, known for its ability to have you have alts. The way that you respec is super simple. It's just gold. So if you want to go try out, you can level as X, and then when you get to a certain level point, you can go change over and actually, have a build pop off from the second you get to X level. There's guides of how to do it that make it easy. And for gamers like us, like gamers like me, who they don't have the ability to sit here and play the amount of time that these other guys play, those are the things that we're looking for. That's the actual thing. So the problem with Path of Exile 2 is, are you going to have the diehards who don't want to play Last Epoch? 100%. You are. You're always going to have those players, right? They're going to look at it. They're going to say it's cartoony. It's not going to be their jam. It's not their style. Great. The problem is the vision, which we all keep using the word, right? The vision, the vision, the vision. The problem is the vision of this game was to include more people like me. And right now, this game is nowhere near as attractive to people like me as it is to the PoE hardcores and the hardcore ARPG players. So that's the issue that they have right now in this game is right now, I would love to go hop on my Lich. I've seen a lot of, bad things about where the state is until another patch comes out with how the totem's working. There's a really cool ice build that I saw. There's a really cool poison volley build that I saw, all of which look really fun. I would probably level all of those, right? And I would, test them out, try to play them, see what I like, see what play style I enjoy, etc. But the truth of the matter is we have a new game coming out in 2 days, and it's one of the funnest games to level in. It's one of the easiest games to level in. It's fast-paced. It's quick. You build around a skill and then have secondary supplementary skills to enhance that skill, right? So it's quick. You buff up. You press a potion. You go jump over here, right? You kill everything with this spell, right? Like those are things that are easy to comprehend, easy to understand. Now, their crafting system is obviously, much more in depth than this, but it's not complicated. And you can get, the cool thing about Last Epoch's crafting is you can get 80% of the result not really knowing a whole lot, right? Like you don't have to have a PhD to figure it out. Like you can switch glyphs, you can upgrade glyphs, you can switch stats, you can upgrade stats, you can gamble stats. You get bigger drops. There's a really good loot filter. The stash base is super easy. And all of these things, like for most of them, are pre-made. So the problem that you're going to see in this game is I think in 48 hours, the amount of people playing this game is going to go down by 80%. I think 80% of the people playing this game right now will not be playing it as of Thursday. And the odds that they come back to it are not high. Because as you guys know, in any game, right, the longer it goes on, the more inflated the economy becomes, and it becomes almost impossible to rebuild a character. So if you don't have the currency now, you're not going to have the currency later. Now, that being said, I really am going to probably sit here today and respec and just go back to playing Bleed because I enjoy the playstyle better. Now, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to spend all this gold, redo all this shit, and hate my life because it's nowhere near as fast as this. But that's the risk I'm going to take because I know I only have 2 days left to play. And then I'm going to play a different game. And the odds of me coming back to this are not high because I'm going to play this game till Diablo 4 comes out. I'll probably play Diablo 4 for a couple of days. And then I'll decide which game I want to go back to. But in all likelihood, if Last Epoch is as good as it's being advertised to be, I may not be logging back into Path of Exile 2 until the week before the new patch comes out, like the new big 0.3 patch comes out. If they have new stuff, new endgame, new classes, etc., and I'll test those out. But frankly, guys, I think GGG is in the roughest spot they've ever been in because they can't nerf this build. Almost everyone's playing, like a vast majority of people. Think about this. If you have 6 classes and like 20, let's just say you have 20 ascendancies right now. 33% of the player base is playing one ascendancy. 1 out of 3 players is playing this build. And you have 20 different ascendancies to choose from. That's how overpowered this is. But like I said, can they nerf it? No. Because if they nerf it, then they lose a massive amount of players because no one wants to go back through the campaign. So what do? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That's why they get paid to be a game developing company, and I don't. But I don't see a good solution for them. I'd be curious what you guys think they should do. Let me know what your thoughts are of like Should they pivot at all the rest of this patch? Should they put out the fixes that they're trying to, that they promised already, get them out as fast as they can, and then solely focus on PoE1's new season and putting in the next big installment and putting it out much faster? Or what? Like, what should be their plan? Because frankly, I think they're in a world of hurt. I think they're in an absolute world of hurt. Let me know what you guys think of the